We are in Judges, chapter 17, verse 5. And it says, Ve'ish Micha, the man Micha, lo beit Elohim. Okay, he had a house of idolatry. Now, the reason I hesitated, because of course the word is Elohim, so it's Elohim or Elohim, so it's not Elohim, because that would be meaning God, the house of God. So here he's making a house of Avodah Zarah, as Rashi explains. Beit Avodah Chachavim, this is a house of idolatry. V'chein kol Elohim hamorim b'parsha zu. And every time you see the word Elohim in this parsha, Rashi tells us, is chol, is mundane. Chutz mizeh kol yimei hayod beit Elokim b'shilo. With the exception of the one verse which says all the days of the house, that the house of Hashem was in Shiloh. Okay, so now we know that Micha he had a house of idolatry. Fine. And what happens? V'yas ephod u'trafim. So he made an ephod and trafim. Trafim is the instruments by which you would tell the future. Moshe David says, "Asoim b'tzura Adam." He made them in the form of a man. U'medabrim al yedei kesem, and they would speak through witchcraft, or something like that. Sorcery, not witchcraft. And he, it's an interesting expression here, Vayimale et yad, which we know from the Mishkan, where it says, where Moshe is teaching Aaron and his children about the service, where it says, Vayimale et yadehem, that you will fill their hands. So here, you will fill his hand. It's a idiomatic expression for train or teach. When you fill somebody's hand, you're teaching them something. You're giving them a trade. So, Vayimale et yad acham mipanav. So he trained one of his children. Vayhilo lechohen, and that child would feed for him a priest. Okay.
In the first part, in the first phrase.
Yeah.
This is lo. The word lo.
Mm-hmm. To him.
To
him was a house of idolatry.
So in English, it just sounds better not to translate it that way.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So Moshe David explains Hayalo Beit Bayit Muchan Avodah Chachavim, that he had a house prepared for of idolatry. Ulazeh Shema. Shema imo et demut umasecha bebeito, and this is what his mother had put in order to give him money to the forger to make her some stuff. Yeah. So she gave it to him. Here I'm making a dedication to your place of avodah zarah. Here you go. Put it up. Okay. Yeah. So vayas ephod trafim et ela asu mishalo. So he even made stuff. So now he already went bad. Remember, he was a good originally. Tried to push his mother away, and his mother gets some stuff. And so now he jumps on the bandwagon. He figures religion pays well, and let's keep ever going. So he makes his own ephod and terafim. Good. Right. So now this was the Malbim. Sorry, the Malbim says on this. Where is it? It must be on this page. Yeah. So it says that the man Micha me'az, he says me'az vera gorer avera. He said from here, you see that one sin. There's a famous rule. One sin. If you do one sin, it will lead you to another sin. If you do one mitzvah, it will lead you to do another mitzvah. It's a famous Mishnah from Pirkei Avot. What does it mean? It means that once I've conditioned myself to do one action, either positive or negative, it will give me the merit to do another thing in that same vein. So if I'm doing a mitzvah, I'll have enough reinforcement to do another mitzvah. And if I do an aveira, so if I commit an aveira, if I do a transgression, that will give you enough impetus to do another one. Because, why? I wasn't stopped. Nothing, I didn't wear, use today's standard. I'm traveling on the highway, speed limit 70, I go 75. Why? Because I know I'm not going to be stopped. But if I was stopped, but after 8 years, for going 75, in the 70-mile-an-hour zone, what can I say to the cop? But you didn't stop me 8 years in a row? Oh, so I'll give you a ticket backward, retroactively. Leave me alone. But nonetheless, once we train ourselves and we say, this is also permissible, and that's what happens. The Gemara says that when I do an Avera, the first time I know it's an Avera, I know it's a sin. The second time, I think it's permissible. Why? Because I got away with it the first time. I've trained myself. So that's why he says here, Avera garert Avera, that one sin pulls another Avera with it. That's why they changed his name from Micha to a bad thing. Elohim, till he made himself. That's how he was going. He kept going. Now he makes himself a house of Avodah Zarah. And then what he does is he not only made the house of the Avodah Zarah that his mother gave him, but now he makes from his own pocket. He makes, in other words, his own money. He makes more trufim. And then after that, he goes more. He trains one of his children to be a Kohen for this Avodah Zarah. So talk about, going Avera, Gerard Avera. First, I convinced my mother not to do what she's doing. But so she makes trufim and an ephod. And then she puts in the house. He sees that. He says, why not? And he starts and going further and further until he finally trains his kid to do Avodah Zarah. So that's a very Avera. A very Avera, right? Then he said, it continues, Bayamim Ahim, in those days, in Melech B'Yisrael, there was no king in Israel. Ish hayasha beinav yaseh, each man did that which was proper in his eyes. That is a pretty open statement. So Metzudas David explains, Ein Melech B'Yisrael, what ain't, there was no king in Israel, what does that mean? Ulezeh asa kol ish hayasha beinav, and for that reason, since there was no king, that would stop you. In other words, they wouldn't make laws against you. So every person did what was right in their own eyes. So there was nobody to reproof Micha. So it's written that this was in the days of Kushan, Rishatayim, before Othniel came to power. So we're really going back to the beginning of the book. So this is done at the very beginning, when everything is before the prophets are telling anybody off. Okay, that's what Metzudas David is saying.
So people are just kind of going off on their own path regardless of halachas and...
They're doing what American Jewry did before the rabbinate came to power. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Really, that's what it is. If you remember our history class, and I refer you back to that, what happened in American history for the Jews is that the laymen came over with whatever they knew from the old country, namely Europe, or wherever they're coming from, and they wanted freedom from tyranny of the other nations, not so much freedom from halacha. So they wanted that, and they didn't know what to do. Here they have to work on Shabbos, what they're doing, so they decide they're going to do that. And they go, and they're very far removed from Torah. I told you, when the Reform movement, they were the first rabbis to be brought in here. Yeah. They were shocked at according to their books, they were totally shocked at what they saw. I mean, people were just so far away from Judaism that they try to bring them back by having Shabbos on Sunday. And that was, by the way, that opinion was a one-person opinion. It was not used across the board. But they tried to move to Sunday. So but no, it wasn't moved to. It was never really accepted. But that's where that concept came from. They were trying to save Judaism. They were trying to save the Jews. Why? Because the rabbis didn't come first. So they were playing catch up. So here also what you're seeing is that the The judges are playing catch up. The difference is that they have God very, very much telling them what to do. In other words, God is there, and God is with the prophets, being able to tell them, what's happening. But, or not prophets, but through the judges. He's inspiring these judges to do things. And the Jews were still salvageable, if you will. It wasn't so far gone as when Shimshon comes around. By the time Shimshon comes around, the Jews are so off the beaten path already that Shimshon can only do a partial victory, but he can't have a full victory, unlike Adniel, which could have a full victory, and others could have full victories. So what you're seeing here is, like I said, before that happened, there was nobody to tell anybody off, nobody to reproof them. They weren't listening to anybody, so it was right in their own eyes. That's what that line is coming to say. Now, again, for those people who read this, if you don't have the commentaries, I always go back to this. Without our commentaries, the non-Jew or the non-religious, the non-Jew or non-religious Jew who's looking at this story will assume that it's going with this time period, that Micha was after Shimshon. They're going to make that assumption. And therefore, they're going to say, wow, after so many prophets, they went off the beaten path. Now everybody's, because there's no king, they're doing what's right in their own eyes. But it's not, again. The rabbi is saying, no, this is going to be very much before, right after Moshe, right after Yeshua, actually. And then we've been very far removed from Moshe. We're 40 years later after Moshe. Moshe dies 120. He dies at 110. Let's say there's a 40-year difference, for argument's sake. I'm not sure how many years it was. And then you're from him, so you go a little further, and people start to go off the derech because Yeshua's not there to tell them off. Okay? So that's what that means. So now what happens? And here's where we see another strange thing. Vayihi Na'ar. There was a young man, Mi Beit Lechem, from Bethlehem of Yehuda. Mimishpachat Yehuda, from the family of Yehuda. V'hu Levi, and he was a Levi. V'hu Garsham, and he lived there. Now what's the problem with that? Come on. I'm going to say, it was a young man from Bethlehem on the land mass of Yehuda, from the family of Yehuda, and he was a Levi. And he lived there.
If he was of Yehuda, how could he be a Levi?
There you go. Beautiful. Beautiful. That is a question. So what happens is, Rashi explains, Mimeshpachat Yehuda, V'hu Levi, he was a Levi, Mina'im. Rashi says he was a Levi from his mother's side. That's the first explanation. Then the rabbis tell us, no. Lefi sha'asa ma'asa Menashe shabam Yehuda, because he did the action of Menashe that came from Yehuda, Karu'u, he was called Mimishpachat Yehuda, from the family of Yehuda. V'hu Levi, but he was really a Levi. And who was he? Ben Gershom, the son of Gershom, and who? Ben Moshe Rabbeinu. You're seeing Moshe Rabbeinu's grandchild. Kamoshe from Mephoros Be'inyan, the Yonatan Ben Gershom. Okay, so I explained that Yonatan, the son of Gershom. So that's how Rashi looks at that. Masudas David goes with the same thing. He says, "Beit Lechem shagam lefi shagam benachlat Zavulun haita ir hakroy gam came Beit Lechem." Since in the territory of Zavulun, there was also a city named Bethlehem, Beit Lechem. Apparently, it's like so many things around here. We all name the same street, Main Street, or this street, or that street. They had, or you can have the same places. Stoughton. Stoughton is in Massachusetts, and Stoughton is somewhere else. So I always see that on the highway when I'm looking at the trucks, they come from Stoughton, where it's coming from. We have a lot of places that have the same names. So he said, because in the land, the inheritance of Zavulun, there was this city called Bethlehem. So Kamoshe Ketub Yeshua, like it's written in Yeshua, L'zeh Amam Beit Lechem Yehuda. That's why here it say Beit Lechem from Yehuda. L'tosef Biur Amar Mishpachat Yehuda, and then it goes to add is from the family of Yehuda, the Ratzalimor, which means that Ha'ir Beit Lechem Haita Minachalat Mishpachat Yehuda. That the city of Bethlehem, Beit Lechem was in the inheritance of the family of Yehuda. Who Levi? Hanar hu Halevi. The boy, on the other hand, was a Levi. Who Gar the Beit Lechem, and he lived or he sojourned in Beit Lechem. Because Levium, let's remember, the Levium did not have land mass, right? They have no land apportionment, so they have to live wherever they're going to live. You have 48 cities that the Levium are going to live in throughout all of Israel. So he doesn't like one city, he can move to another one. It's no big deal. So he's right now living in that place. Okay, so that's the Metzudas David. The Malbim says, "Who na'ar vayhi na'ar." I'm sorry. Oh, so first he says, "B'yamim mehem," in those days means al titpalei Yisrael hecharishu lezoki lo haya az sar v'shofi ba'arz. Don't be, when he says in those days there was no king, don't wonder that Israel was, as it were, being plowed through with this, because there was no officer or judge in the land. And then it says there was a boy, Hanar halaz hayavi Beit Lechem Yehuda. Again, we have to go through the same thing. This boy, Malbim explains, the boy was from Beit Lechem in Yehuda. She's going with Rashi, and he says this is the reason why he was in Beit Yehuda, Beit Lechem, from Yehuda, was because his mother came from that tribe. Umitzad Aviv, but from his father's side, Haya Levi, he was a Levi. Like I was just telling you now, and since Levium had no portion of land, Gar Makomimo, he lived in his place of his mother. Because he didn't have an inheritance from his father's side. And that also which is written from the family of the mother, Eno Kroya Mishpacha, is not really his called family, because who Yoresh Minachalat Yisrael Shaita Bat Yoreshet Nachala. So he says, even so, that which is called the family of his mother is not called his family, because he would inherit the portion from his mother that the daughter inherited. So from that side, Nechshav Mishpachat Yehuda. So apparently, what happened was his grandfather died. The grandfather only had a girl, or the grandfather decided to cede some fields to his girl, and this girl has a son who's a Levi. That son now picks up some of the land from Yehuda, so he can farm it, I guess. And so now he inherits a portion of the land of Yehuda. You understand how that works? Yeah, Bill, you got that? Okay, so it's a simple thing. If a father has a boy and a girl, or if he just has a girl, if he just has a girl, it all goes to the girl. Okay, but let's say he has two. He has a boy, a couple of boys, and a girl. He doesn't want the girl to be empty-handed. So what he can do is he can cede land to her. Once he cedes the land to her, her children, well, her husband too, but her children will get the land, her land. So now this Levi, even though he had no land by his father's portion, he gets it from his mother's portion. Okay. So now, 8. So this man went from the city of Beit Lechem Yehuda, Lagor Ba'asher Yimsha, to live in a place that he found. In other words, he was on a search mode. I don't want to live in Bethlehem. I don't want to farm. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Depending on who you're following. I want to go and see the world. I want to see where else I fit. He was looking for a community. Okay. Vayavo Har Ephraim, so he came to Har Ephraim, Beit Micha, until the house of Micha, La'asod Darko, to make his way. And, okay, let's see what happens. To find a place. To find a place. While he was wandering. So, Rashi explains, La'asod Darko Derech HaLichat, trying to make his way. Okay, everybody's saying the same thing there. So, Malbim says, Vayelech ha'ish me'ir, So he says, why did he leave? Yan lo matzah sham parnasato, since he couldn't make a living there. Sound familiar? Since he couldn't make a living, halach misham, he left. Ube'er shalo alach al ma she'elav, and he's explaining he didn't go to something in any general direction. Rak yetza mimash mimenu. He just went from what was with him. Halach me'ir le'ir. He went from city to city. Levakesh makom Micha, so he could find a place where he could make a living. Zeh shekatuv legorba sheyimsha. That's why it's written to live where he will find. And so from this, he went around Mount Ephraim until the house of Micha. It wasn't, he didn't do that because he thought he would find a place to work. That was the way to go. He went like a guest. He sees a place and he says, let me go there, I'll stay the night and I'll leave. This famous story, I won't use the rabbi's name. Actually, I could use the rabbi's name. It's a famous story, but the rabbi before me in Bangor, Rabbi Isaac, said, tell the story of him, that he was up in the armed forces, and he was up, I forget what the fort was up there. It was, Maine is very big, and there was a way up at the border, near the border, there was apparently a base. And they said, it's not the end of the world, but you can see it from here. That sort of base, okay? And what happened was he came to Bangor just as on his way home, I guess. He was going to New York. And they asked him if he would like to be their rabbi. He laughed. The story goes, he laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed. And they said, okay, so what are you laughing? You need a job anyway? It's all right. Then they asked him, could he be the cantor for the high holidays? He had a nice voice. That I can do. And then he stayed. He stayed for next 40 years. He was a rabbi of Bangor. But that's what I'm saying. He wasn't going. It was passing through. Same thing with this guy, this character. He was passing through. He didn't have a mind to stay there. Lo and behold, they offer him a job. They give him an offer he can't refuse. And why not? He'll stick around and see what happens. Okay. 10. 9. Vayomer lo Micha. So Micha said, man, Tavo, where are you coming from? A new blood, it's like when you have a new person coming here. Where you come from? Yeah. It's not Shalom Aleichem, you need a place to eat. No, it's where you're coming from? Okay. What's going on? Vayomer love, he said to him, Levi Anochi, which doesn't answer the question, by the way. I am a Levi. That's not the first thing I tell people. Okay, Beit Lechem Yehuda. I'm a Levi from the house of from Beit Lechem in Yehuda. Ve'anochi holech, and I am going legor bashirim said to live where I can find a place to work. Again, that's a thing. Rashi explains bashir emsa, and the place all fine. Parnasati listaker, my parnasa, my work, my livelihood, so I can live properly. Oh, so he's the happiest guy. So the Malbim says, "Me'ayin tavo ki chashav," because he thought sheyesh lo makom kavua. He thought that this guy had a fixed place. And there's many times people come through the show. You go to St. Louis, and they ask you where you come from. I live in South Bend. You start telling them the beauties of South Bend, beauties of Midwest Torah Center, and so on and so forth. How you love it here so much. Okay, and maybe they'll want to come. You advertise your place, right? On the other hand, if you walk into the place and they say where you're coming from, you say, well, I was from South Bend, but I'm looking for greener pastures. Well, their whole demeanor changes, because now they try to convince you, assuming that they want you, to start living in their developments. Okay. So, like I said, he's thought that he had a fixed place. He said, no, I don't have a fixed place. I'm only going to place, I want to find Parnasa. Oh, it's very good. So what happens? Vayomer lo Micha. Micha said to him, Shva imadi, stay with me. Stay with me, mister. Now listen to this job proposal. This is an amazing job proposal. Ve'yi li la'av l'kohen, and you will be for me the father, and the high priest,
Ah.
which means the Moshe David says, "You'll be my teacher, and you'll teach, and you'll be the priest of the shul. You'll be the rav." V'anochi atin lecha aseret kesef liyamim, and I will give you 10 pieces of silver. I want to make sure I get the price right. He's negotiating the price already. 10 pieces of silver. Where is it? Yeah, for a period. Ve'erech begadim, and I will give you a parsonage. You're going to have enough to buy your clothes. I'm going to give you a wardrobe here, and umechayetecha, and I'm going to give you a living. You'll get food. You have everything made for you. It's great. I'm all set. And your provision's fine. Vayelech halevi. And what happens? The Levite and the Levite agreed, basically. The Levite followed. Okay. So Rashi says, "What's liyamim l'sof shana, to the end of the year." In other words, I'm going to pay you 10 pieces of silver to the end of the year. That's what I'm going to do. That's a good paycheck. That's his time. Great paychecks here. No problem. And I'm going to give you a wardrobe. Zo khalifa begadim shehem erech. Okay, fine. I'm going to give you enough clothes to last you the year, and you're going to give you again. So what does it mean that the Levi went after him? Achar atzato, after his advice. So he's going to accept it. Now the Malbim says in this. Vayomer lo Micha, Amar lo, he said to him, after that you're walking, you're wandering, and since you don't have any place to work or you have food, so I'm going to give you 3 things. One, I'm going to tell you 3 things. One, Shava imadi, stay with me. Po teshev lo tanud. Here you're going to dwell and you won't have to wander. She'esek, what's your job? Hu esek nichvad. Because this job befits your honor, because you are a Levi. And mind you, he wanted a priest, right? So if I want a priest, what better priest than to get a real priest? He trained his son, Micha's son. He was, what do you call him in the church? A deacon? Yeah, a deacon has no power. He has no pull. It's just, you get trained to that, right? You don't go to school. No, you're a deacon, shkoich. So he made his son a deacon. Now I have a real guy. I have a real raw, real semicha. Okay. He comes from Moshe Rabbeinu. How much more can you get? You know, he's literally his grandchild. Okay. And so he says, "I'm going to give you something befitting your honor, and that's your Levi. And more than that, I'm going to make you the father, in other words, the teacher and the Kohen. Mitzad schar, from the side of the paycheck. Etein lecha aseret kesef yamim. I'm going to give you 10 silver pieces a year. And then, like I said, the clothes according to your honor, and your mazonis, your foods. And so, ve'elecha levi seifish techila loratza, the hashkir at small, levodah zara. Originally, so the Malbim says, originally, the Levi went, when it says ve'elecha levi, the Levi went, he says originally he did not want to be supported. He did not want to support himself from avodah zara. So he went away from him. So the Malbim says, Ve'elech Levi says, this wasn't a simple negotiation. He said, no, I don't want to do avodah zara. I'm sorry. You want me to do avodah zara? I'm a Levi. I have better things to do with my time. And think about my grandfather. My poor grandfather would be turning over in his grave, wherever he's buried, because we don't know where he's buried either. Okay. So wherever he is, he's going to be turning over his grave. He knows that I have gone to avodah zara. It can't be. So he walks away. Okay. Then what happens? The very next pasuk says, "Veyoel halevi l'shevet ish." Well, the Levi decided to live with the man, to dwell with the man. And look what happened, by the way. He was like a young man, like one of his sons. Wait a second, you said I would be the boss, and now I'm the associate rabbi. Now I do all the grunt work. I'm the deacon. Forget the associate rabbi. I'm the deacon of the guy. I'm the shamus. I'm the shamus here. What happened? You told me I'd be the boss. So now why does he go back? So again, following the Malbim. It says, V'yoel Levi, a nitrat sel shevet. He wanted, so the Levi was willing, decided he wanted to live with this man. Rosh Lemor lo Kohen. He didn't want to be the Av and the Kohen. He didn't want that job. Rak l'shevet beito eze yamim. What he wanted to do is stick around. That's all. He just wanted to be like a regular person in the house. And that's why he was like a young man, like one of his sons. Ochel al shulchano. He ate by his table. V'achakach al yedei sheyashav beit rasha nigrar acharav. But after that, since he was sitting with a rasha, he was drawn after that rishut. You understand? So if you follow the Malbim, it's a very interesting development. Here, the Levi said, I don't want the job. No, it's not good for me. Because it's not right. Hashem is Hashem. On the other hand, I want a place to stick around. So you know what? I don't accept your job. What I'll do is I'll just stick around. It became a ben bias, what we call a ben bias, where you sit and you talk and you schmooze. You talk about Torah, you talk about sports, you talk about the president. Okay, talk about all these things. And as long as you're talking, as long as you're in that environment, then you are drawn after that environment. You may think, by the way, if I really want to give this Levi the side of merit, kaf sechut, what I would say is that he thought he could change the place. If I join you, maybe I can get you back on the right path. And maybe that's what he was going on. But we learned from Pirkei Avot a very important thing, that you cannot al titchavel rasha. You don't become friendly with a rasha, because you're going to lose. The rasha is more powerful than the tzaddik every time, because the rasha has this world, is all this world. I can show you riches, I can show you this, I can show you that. We can change religion, we can do what we want, we can create our own, we can create a new world order. And that's very tempting. That's how the snake got Chava. You can create worlds. And that gets everybody. Who wouldn't want to create the brand new world order? We all want to do that. Okay? That's, if you get me and I know it's not, and I think it's reality, maybe why not join up with that? And so the grandson of the Levi is influenced by this thought, and that's what the Malbim is saying. That's why he went. And again, that's an instance of avera goreret avera. He should have run, not walked, run away from this guy and saying, "You're a nut. I don't want anything to do with you." But because he didn't, he gets sucked into it. Okay, so now what happens? So Vayimale, and actually we're going to have to stop here. It's on, so we got stuck with, here he is, and he's going to get trained.